Welcome back to Repair University from Collision Hub, and today we're going to talk about what it takes to estimate airbags properly in your collision center. So we know about blueprinting, triaging the repair, doing everything you can up front to get the estimate right. And unfortunately, sometimes one of the things we miss the most and the biggest is the airbags. We rely on guide to estimatings and head notes and footnotes, and we're leaving out a lot in the process. So Doug Gan from Airbag Solutions has come to talk to us about what it takes to estimate airbags properly in your facility the first time around. Doug, thanks for joining us today.
Tristan, thank you for having me.
All right, well, I'm going to let you take this because you've got some great information to share with us. So, you want the mic?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Doug Gan from Airbag Solutions, and what we're going to do is a side-by-side comparison of Autotex CCC versus Airbag Solutions. Now, a lot of times you write the estimate based on what the insurance appraiser is writing, and you don't really understand what you're going to be facing once you get through with the repair. So we're going to take you through a couple of unique examples. One's with Autotex and a Mercury Montego, and the other is with CCC, who did a Buick Lacrosse. So the first estimate is a 2005 Mercury Montego that had a front impact. The airbags did deploy. The appraiser came out, and they decided to try to decide what to write. So what's required? Obviously, you're going to need the two bags, and you got to look in the estimate. So with Autotex, they have a matrix that you open up. They offer a list. On the left-hand side, it tells you what's required and a bunch of things that you need to look at. If we zoom in on that list, you'll be able to see for the Montego, they want all deployed devices, the driver's bag, passenger bag, seatbelt pretensioners, front impact sensors, clock spring, and a control unit. That's pretty basic. If you look at the car, you can tell pretty much that's what you're going to need. So they go ahead, in your estimate, you're going to click all of the icons and all of the parts that you think that you come across, and you're going to build your estimate. Once the estimate is written, the car goes to the shop. Here's all the items that are on the estimate, about a $2,300 restraint system. You've got a driver's airbag, the clock spring that's required, the passenger airbag, control unit, 2 seat belts, and 2 sensors. That's what the matrix said. Labor to put all that in, $2,300. So now you've got the car finished, all the work is done, all the components are put in. What happens? You got an airbag light on. You've done everything that you were supposed to do. You're ready to deliver the car. Now what's going to happen? This car is going to have to go to the dealer because you don't have the tools and the knowledge to know what's wrong. So here's what the dealer said once they got that car. They needed a steering column because the steering column on this particular model is deployable. There's an explosive charge in there. Along with the column, you're going to need the wire harness. Ford requires all the seatbelt components, the height adjusters, the belts, the buckles, anytime there's a pretensioner deployment. And the control unit needs programming. So Ford's going to hit you with a bill for about $1,700. So now you've got a supplement with Autotex for diagnostics for $80, steering column, the labor to put it in, 2 seatbelt height adjusters, 2 seatbelt buckles, the labor to put all that in, program the control unit, and 2 more days of car rental that you weren't planning on. Now your cycle time and your profits have all gone out the window, and you've got an $1,800 supplement you're waiting to hear back from the insurance. So what was originally written, $2,300, and an $1,800 supplement, you've got a $4,100 restraint system cost on the estimate that you weren't planning on. Alternately, Airbag Solutions offers you a different way to approach this. We're an online, subscription-based database that shows you easy-to-read OEM information, the same that the dealer uses, as to what you need for each vehicle. For the 2005 Mercury Montego, the same one we just looked at, when there's a seatbelt deployment, this is the screen you will get from Airbag Solutions. It tells you that the belts will deploy before the airbags independently. You need to replace any deployed belt, which is what Autotex said, but it also says you need to replace all the components. You need 2 front sensors and the control unit. Airbag Solutions shows you in pictorial format exactly what you need for each of the vehicles that you're working on. You get to the front system, because this had a front airbag deployed. It needs the airbag, the clock spring, and guess what? We show you the steering column. That's what you need. That's what Ford requires on this particular vehicle. There are about 12 vehicles that Ford requires the steering column replaced because it is a deployable column. The rest of them are just check only. You need the passenger airbag, a dashboard, 2 front sensors, and the control unit. We also tell you that what scan tool you would use to reset or read the codes, and that the airbag control unit needs programming. Wouldn't it be nice to know that while you're writing the estimate rather than when you try to deliver the car? It's called PMI programming. We show you exactly what tools the dealers are going to use that you need to have if you want to get involved in diagnosing and setting these, or to refer it to the dealer. So you've got a choice. You can work with the matrix that you're provided in your basic estimating systems, or for an additional $14.95 a day, you can have Airbag Solutions in your hands every time you write an estimate. Subscriptions are available for daily, monthly, or annual use, depending on how often you're going to write an estimate. We recommend if you're using if you're estimating one car every couple of weeks, then you just buy it one at a time. If you're going to be doing more than 3 estimates with an airbag system in it, then the monthly subscription fee of $49 a month is applicable and probably more suited for you. So there's what your choice is. You can have a supplement with Autotex, or you can understand what you need up front before you start with Airbag Solutions and have no supplement. The next one we're going to look at is a similar situation, but this one didn't have to go to the dealer. This was a 2009 Buick Lacrosse. Oh, by the way, that Mercury Montego that had that steering column and that supplement totaled the car. The insurance company bought it back finished, except for the steering column, and they sold it as a salvage vehicle. This one was all in-house. This is a 2009 Buick Lacrosse. CCC wrote this system. And again, they have headnotes. So you get to look at their replacement requirements, and it's a script, once again, pretty generic. All the deployed modules, a control unit, sensors in the area of the damage, and a deployed seatbelt. Do you know what you're looking for when you're asked about a deployed seatbelt? This is the disclaimer CCC has right in those headnotes. It says, check with the manufacturer to obtain the most current information, which means we're not going to be bothered with helping you handle that. So once again, you go into your estimating system and you get to pick out a pencil sketches and drop downs what you think it might need. You come up with an estimate, or the appraiser does. And on this particular one, once again, very simply, a driver's bag, a passenger bag, control unit, 2 seat belts, and a front sensor in the area of the damage. $2,087. Well, here's the first problem. They take the airbag out, and guess what? The clock spring's melted to the back of the airbag. So now you need a clock spring. That's not uncommon. That happens once in a while. You'll see that. It's not a requirement for GM on this vehicle, but it's a situation you're going to have to supplement. Here's the second problem. This airbag doesn't come with a cover on it. Now you need to buy a dashboard. That's going to be a problem. Third problem. He wrote seat belts. Well, guess what? The Pretensioners are in the buckle, not the belt. Fourth problem is GM requires 2 sensors on this car, not just the one in the area of the damage, but they require both of them. Fifth problem is, like Ford, GM requires all the seatbelt components be replaced. So although he already wrote the retractor, you know you need a pretensioner for the restraint system. You're also going to need height adjusters on both sides. I know a lot of times we take these seatbelts out when there's no one in the seat, and it's so tight, it's like a banjo string up on the B-pillar. You've got to release the tension just so you can get it disconnected from the height adjuster, and a lot of times these are bent. So the manufacturer wants them replaced as a requirement. So now you've got 5 problems with this car. Oh no, I'm sorry, here's a 6th. The control unit also needs to be programmed, which was not on the original estimate, which means this car has to go back to the dealer for programming once you're finished with it. So here's your supplement for the Buick Lacrosse, $2,200 supplement. Clock spring, a dashboard, height adjusters, buckle pretensioners, another front sensor, the labor to do it all, programming, and once again, a delay in delivery, extra rental car charges. You're probably going to pick up those rental car charges because the repair ran over. So here's your original Restraint system, $2,087 on the estimate with a $2,200 supplement. Not fun. Here's what Airbag Solutions would have shown you for that same car. Driver's bag, passenger bag, guess what? No cover. Dashboard needs to be replaced. You need a dashboard. Front sensors, 2 are required. Control unit, it's under the seat. The seatbelt pretensioners, and we show you that they're the buckles, not the belts. So you know what you're up against, and we identify which car has which components. With expandable pictures, you'll be able to see exactly what you're looking for. This particular picture shows a pretensioner on the passenger side that's deployed and pulled down. The driver's side is not. So on this particular vehicle, that had 1 deployed pretensioner, not 2. The Buick we're looking at had both. We show you that you need all 3 components, that they must be replaced if any pretensioner is deployed. Here's the dashboard. Because the airbag popped up through the top and there was a slight cover that pops out open, there was a laser cut on the inside of the dashboard. The appraiser thought that cover came with the airbag, and that's why he didn't write the dashboard. But it doesn't. It's a separate component and it's part of the instrument panel. We show you exactly what you're going to be up against. 2 front sensors are required. They're both on the core support, and we will give you a picture as to what you're looking for and where they're going to be. We show you what's probable related damage. Now, all of our information comes from the OEM, but we do have contributors that are subscribers that send us photos and information as to what they found. And a melted clock spring on this particular vehicle shows up in our section marked probable related damage. This is a typical problem with the Buick Lacrosse when the driver's bag deploys. So it's something that should be inspected before the appraiser leaves. You pop the airbag off and you look and you won't have a supplement. We show you that the control unit needs programming. Once again, the different scanners that will read it. If you need to look up fault codes or you wonder what the wire repair procedures are, these are all part of the database that Airbag Solutions provides. So what you get from the dealer, or from the CCC head notes, is a list of a half a dozen components and some script that says check with the manufacturer. What you get from Airbag Solutions is a drop-down screen applicable to your vehicle that shows each deployment, each component, and each process to repair what you're going to need for that vehicle. So with CCC, you would have had a $2,100 supplement. With Airbag Solutions, you would have known up front exactly what you would have needed. Here's some other things that Airbag Solutions shows you. The Nissan Altima is a real good example. How many of you have changed the passenger airbag in the Nissan Altima only to find the pigtails for the igniter are melted? So what do? Do you replace the harness? Do you call the appraiser back and get it re-inspected? No. You understand that there is a secondary harness that Nissan built in that has to be used when you're replacing an airbag. These initial pigtails are supposed to be cut and taped off. Nissan provides these heat shrink tubings and instructions on how to do that in the passenger airbag box when you open up a new airbag. And you use a secondary harness that's taped into the original harness right from the factory, because they know these are going to melt and they want to use a secondary connector without you having to replace the harness. None of the ISPs offer that kind of information. Did you know Chrysler changed their components? September of 2011, they came out with a bulletin that said all of their vehicles starting in about 2007 require a steering column replacement, not just inspection now, if the driver airbag deploys. The column and the lower coupler are all required now on Chrysler vehicles. Ford Focus is a real good one. They have changed their seatbelt pretensioner design 4 times since 2005. Originally they were a belt and a buckle, then they went to 2 belts, then they went to 2 buckles, now they're back to 2 belts. So unless you know exactly what year and model you're working on, you're not going to know what component you're looking for and which one to replace. Airbag Solutions shows you a deployed pretensioner versus a good one, what to look for, and each vehicle is identified. Active head restraints are becoming a very popular item now. A lot of new vehicles are having them. Well, Saab has one, and when it's activated, you need to change the inside of the back seat, which is what deploys the headrest supports. Chrysler has them, and this one resets manually. There's nothing to replace. You push the headrest down, back, and down, and it locks back in place. So each vehicle has their own manufacturer-specific requirements as to what to replace, what to check, and Airbag Solutions shows you, with pictures of actual vehicles, what to do and what it looks like. So where you get your information from is up to you. You're still going to need your ISPs for all the database. CCC, Autotex, and Mitchell are going to be your mainstay. But Airbag Solutions will show you what they don't. It's $14.95 a day if you wanted 1-day use. It's $49.95 for a month, or you can buy 24/7 access for a year for $500, $499.95. And this is what you would have at your fingertips every time you wrote an estimate. Airbag Solutions is already affiliated with ASA. We do training with ICAR. We've helped them create the Damage 11 program. We are working with Verifax in completing training programs for their academy. And there's new news coming up in the next couple of weeks. Watch the press releases. There's some exciting news for Airbag Solutions. So it's your choice what you want to use and how you can be helped.
So for a shop, having access to information above and beyond maybe what, I'm traditionally, I go to the matrix, right? I always said, go to the matrix, go to the matrix. That was kind of built into our head. I'm going to be able to kind of preempt that, save some headaches.
Absolutely.
And probably get the car out faster and not be eating as much rental as I'm maybe eating now with airbag supplements.
Yeah.
So that's good for the shop. So Doug, while we got you here, just I always like to pick your brain. What's new on the horizon for airbags? So we know that we've always struggled kind of estimating them correctly, getting all the parts up front. We've always kind of let the dealer be our stopgap, which is kind of getting us in trouble a little bit. But what's new? What's fresh out there for collision repairs and airbags that we probably aren't thinking about right now today?
Well, some of the new information we get, there's what's called pedestrian protection systems. And what these are is an exterior airbag and restraint system to protect pedestrians when a vehicle strikes them in the front. There are new sensors in the bumper. There's a new control unit that's going to be located, the one I'm thinking of on a Chrysler Caravan is under the driver's seat, and it has deployable hood hinges that are going to pop the hood up about 6 inches at the windshield, so that when the pedestrian is struck by a vehicle, when the pedestrian is struck by a vehicle, the hood's going to pop up about 6 inches to break the fall. Volvo just announced 4 days ago they have an external airbag on the outside of the windshield that's going to deploy and protect the head from hitting the windshield of the pedestrian. So it's pedestrian protection systems that are coming out. BMW's had them in Europe for 2 years. Chrysler had them last year. They brought it out in Europe, and Volvo's got it now at the new auto show.
So having a car come to my facility with what may look like hood damage may actually end up being an airbag situation to estimate and look into.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to get a car come into your shop and the guy's going to say, boy, I hit some guy and now the hood doesn't close right. So it's popped up about 4 or 5 inches, and an appraiser's going to look at it, they'll open it up and they'll say, yeah, you need a couple of hinges, and write it off. but you don't. You're going to need a series of sensors, you're going to need a control unit, you're going to need probably a hood, and you're going to need the restraint components that deploy those hinges. A whole bunch of systems.
And that's the kind of information that you guys are providing on a regularly updated basis to the repairers. So as soon as an OEM makes an announcement about changing an airbag, you guys have got that for them so that they know right away as soon as that car comes in. They don't have to be the guinea pig for the mistake.
That's right. That's right.
You always hate that.
Yeah, we last year when we updated BMW, we went to the BMW dealership to actually get photos of that hinge. Nobody at the dealership knew what we were talking about. It's like, this is on a 5 Series BMW. We've got the tech manuals to prove that this is what's there. Where's the vehicle that has it? He says, we don't know anything about it. So this is the kind of information we get daily. We get bulletins from the manufacturers, we get input from the techs out in the field, and we get alerts that anytime there's an airbag related issue that comes out new.
Well, thanks for joining us for Repair University Live from the AASP show in New Jersey. We're going to be back a little bit later with some more training with Larry Montanez talking about triaging cars, what's repair standards versus OEM standards, and what should you be doing in your facility today. We'll be back. Thanks.